New question, the member from Simcoe Grey.
Speaker, my question is the Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry. Mr. Speaker, Mr. David Harbeck, the manager of Somerville Seedlings in Everett, wrote to the Premier recently and said, quote, "Perhaps you're not aware that as we speak, the managers in charge of the Ontario tree seed plant closure are only giving us, the stakeholders, one option, not all options, as Minister McGarry has stated as recently as November 15th. I would suggest that the minister is grossly misinformed by her staff. The only option we are given is to get in line in hopes to get some of the seed that is left on the shelf." End of quote. Mr. Harbeck and the Ontario Tree Seed Coalition are asking the government to accept the transition proposal they submitted to the minister on October 13th. The proposal allows the ministry to walk away from the seed business, but maintains their leadership role through the fiscal support of the province's propagation and forestry genetic experts. Mr. Speaker, will the minister actually work with stakeholders and accept the transition proposal?
Thank you. Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and thank you to the member opposite for his question today. You know, I had an impromptu meeting recently with Rob Keane, who is the head of Forest Ontario, as you know, who had just actually had a meeting with my ministry the day before, and his comments were that we were working very well with them to identify all options. So we are meeting with not only the stakeholders and the nurseries, but we are identifying new opportunities for our private sector. The private sector now provides 80% of the seed extraction and 100% of the stock growing for the province. And I see this as an opportunity for private nurseries to expand operations as the ministry changes its focus to a science-based approach. So we continue to work with all of the stakeholders to develop new policies, such as a new seed zone policy, and create a new genetic archive. Thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary, the member from Leeds, Grenville.
Back to the minister. You know, Speaker, this minister claims she's still consulting, but those who have taken part in those meetings report back that her staff is just going through the motions. Yep. They're ignoring reasonable alternatives from the industry to protect jobs and the environment by keeping the tree seed plant operating. Over 24 environmental groups, municipalities and private sector nurseries are opposed to the minister's plan. She mentioned Forest Ontario. Also, groups include Ducks Unlimited and the cities of Toronto and Ottawa. Ed Pacha, CEO of the Ferguson Forest Centre in my riding, wrote this to me, quote, "This is really the last step in the Liberal government's abandonment of forestry in southern Ontario, leaving no controls on future forest genetics." Speaker, will the minister shelve this ill-conceived plan, or does she want her legacy to be the abandonment of forestry in southern Ontario?
Thank you very much, Speaker, and for the supplementary. But the new genetic archive will be a potential news source for the type of scientific information needed to address climate change. For example, our scientists will need to know exactly where the seeds have come from as they consider migrating tree species in reaction to changes in climate. So we continue to work with all of our stakeholders, with our ministry, to continue all the important conversations to ensure that moving forward we have a modern seed genetic archive and that we continue to grow the seeds. It's important for me to note too, Speaker, that the party opposite has not supported in the past. Under their government in the mid-90s, they privatized a system that put them in the situation to begin with. We continue to work on this side of the House to ensure that we have savings for the taxpayers and the important programs that we have moving forward. Thank you.
Question, member from London Fanshawe.